What's going on, guys? It's me, Tim, back with another video for you. Now, it's been a hot minute since I've released a video, and if you are new to the channel, welcome. Thank you. This is how we roll around here. But if you aren't subscribed, it would be awesome if you would. And if you don't, that's totally okay as well. No sweat off my back. Well, like I said, it's been a minute since I've released any sort of camera review on my YouTube channel. And there has been a reason I've had almost a 60+ day absence from sharing. And that is, as you can see, I'm not in my normal spot. We've moved from Virginia to Florida and we are living in absolute chaos of unpacking boxes and throwing away wrapping paper. However, I did want to take a little time out of the craziness that is my life to make a video about a lens I never wanted, a lens that I struggled to take out of my bag for about a year. And that lens is the Zeiss 35mm f2 Biogon ZM. I know many people who love the 35mm focal length, but I want to be fair. 35 has never been a lens that I've loved to shoot. I mean, the 35mm focal length is okay. I know why people love it, but I have always seen the world with the 50. Now, when I shoot wider, I love to shoot with the 28 and the 40mm. 35 seemed a little annoying because it never fit exactly with what I wanted or how I saw what I wanted with my work. Now, I had to force myself to shoot with this lens. And to be fair, I was really happy that I did. I know a lot of reviews on lenses on YouTube will almost always be favorable, but I wanted to share a little bit about my love-hate relationship with the 35mm focal length. Well, I wouldn't say I love the focal length, but the images that I got with this lens actually took me by surprise. Now, I've shot with the Leica Summicron and the Summilux 35mm, and this lens is sharper despite being longer and slightly larger than the Summicron. The Zeiss Biogon comes in both black and silver. Obviously, I have the black version that I bought new from Amazon about 2 years ago. I've only put it on my camera about 15 times, but out of those 15 times, it has lived on my Leica over the last 6 months, almost exclusively. Now, I do want to take a moment to talk about the build quality of this lens. And I want to bring up the aperture ring first. The aperture ring has the right amount of clicks, and once you get used to how many clicks it takes to go to f2 to f8, you'll be able to get your stuff perfectly where you want it. The focus ring is smooth, but I read in several places that over time it can get a little loose. However, the dimple on the focus ring is just the right amount of notch to move from out of focus to in focus. Now, this lens is not small, but it also is not as huge as a Zeiss 35-1.4 lens, and the Leica Biogon is about the same size as the Leica 50 Summicron, but it is a bit thicker. The Biogon is larger than most other 35mm f2 lenses for the Leica rangefinder cameras. However, it is drastically smaller than any current DSLR or mirrorless 35mm lens. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the build quality of the Biogon is the markings and the engravings on this lens. If creative design like the Leica is considered to be the BMW of creation, then the Zeiss lenses have got to be the Cadillac. Something is to be said about how great the engraving looks on the black-bodied Zeiss lens. It's the right amount of pop contrasting white markings with the black lens bodies. The blue dot that shows you where to line up the lens to connect the body is unique, and the T marking is just the right amount of red. The one meh issue with most Zeiss lenses, including the Biogon, is that it does not come with a lens hood. You can buy one, but at these prices for Leica lenses, it should come with one. It's not a deal breaker, but it's pretty lame if you ask me. Now, who cares about what a lens looks like on the outside if the images that you take with said lens is trash, right? Well, let me be the first to tell you that the photos that I got out of this are almost perfect. The contrast is impressive as it is for most Zeiss lenses. I have found that the images at f2 can sometimes lack the same contrast in the corners is in the center of the picture, but that's just me being nitpicky. The one thing that I hate talking about when it comes to a lens is how sharp it is, because it is absolutely not a motivating factor for me when I buy a lens. But I know it is vital to others, so I will comment on it. This lens is sharp. Is it the sharpest lens ever? Maybe, but that's going to be subjective to the viewer. But I think the Biogon is sharper than the Leica 35 f2. Now, does that mean that you should not buy the Leica? No, it's not what I'm saying at all. It would be best to buy whatever you can afford or save up for. But the Biogon is an excellent alternative to the more expensive Leica version. The bokeh on this lens is pleasing and creamy. I like how the in focus parts of the images fall off from the background. I know some prefer this lens stopped down to f2.8, but I like it at f2. Now, I'm not a pixel peeper. I don't zoom into my images at 300 times, but if I'm looking at my pictures on my computer, I always return to the photos that I've shot at f2 more than I do at f2.8. I do want to spend a quick second to talk about what I don't like about this lens, and that one thing is that I can hardly get this lens to flare. I know some like a lens that does not have lens flare when shooting into bright light sources, but I enjoy it, and I think if you give this lens some unique character with shooting with it. Overall, if you are looking for a 35mm in the M-mount variety, it would be hard to pass on the Zeiss Biogon. Perhaps the main reasons you should get this over any other lens is that the Biogon gives you the best bang for the buck, combined with performance that is just as good as almost any lens in the Leica class, M-mount class. Now, if you're looking for a lens that will make better images, I would advise you to stop looking. Take whatever you own and go out and photograph with what you have. I know this sounds weird, but no lens on the Leica or any camera body will make you a better photographer. The only thing that will make you a better photographer is to go out and create, work, and try to see the world differently. You can read and watch reviews until you're blue in the face. Still, unless you go out and create images, you will never be able to figure out what gear you actually need in your bag. Instead, all that will do is have you inside looking at YouTube videos and reading articles about gear that you wish you had. Now, I will say this, as a Leica shooter and a film photographer, I always tell people that you should just go out and just create. Now, I didn't even take my own advice when I bought this lens. I bought it, it sat in my bag because I felt I needed a 35mm lens. Everyone has a 35mm lens. I only had the 50, the 40, and the 28. But forcing myself to take this lens out of my bag and go out and create with it actually was a really, brought a lot of joy into my life. At first, I found it mildly frustrating, somewhat limiting, but after about the second week of shooting exclusively with this lens, I found that I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it and have no intentions on ever getting rid of it. Now, I know a lot of photographers in photography YouTube will get online and will share with you their thoughts on a lens, and then will never come back to that lens ever again. They'll never share their thoughts about it. They will never, essentially what they've done is they've created a video for the views and then they're on to the next thing. But on this channel, I promise you that I will revisit every piece of gear that I've reviewed before, at least 6 months to a year down the road. That way I can give you some further thoughts and further opinions about using the gear further. I just feel as it's a disservice to you, the viewer, and a disservice to myself to not know my gear inside and out. So that way I can give you a objective and subjective view on the lens and what I'm shooting. So if you're new to this channel, thanks for watching if you made it this far. And yeah, I hope you check out some of my other videos. This is my new space that I'm working out of. It's actually a shed at my home. I'm still kind of working on getting everything kind of the way that I want it. But yeah, this is my first video here in this new space. And I just wanted to say, hey, thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and end. How do you end a new YouTube video? Yeah, you just end. Peace.